By day, I'm a house husband, but by night I engage in lively discussions with industry leaders. Even my self-made wife doesn't know my true identity. Until that day, I accidentally discovered that my wife's bag contained a pair of sparkling rings. Excited, I thought they were a gift for me, so I rushed home and eagerly prepared a meal of my specialty for her. But when my wife came home, she didn't greet me warmly. Instead, she complained that she was tired of eating the same food every day. Then my daughter reminded her that it was our 30th wedding anniversary. Only then did my wife suddenly remember, and she went upstairs to get something I eagerly awaited my gift. But when I opened it, I found a rock inside. At this point, my son-in-law chimed in, saying that my wife travels the world for business and only brings back souvenirs, but I clearly saw the rings inside furious. I stormed upstairs, but there was no sign of the rings in her bag. I searched the room, and that's when I found a storage box next to the bed. What I uncovered shocked me. All these years when my wife went on business trips, she had been traveling the world with her first love. They had left their traces at every destination, and at the very bottom, I found intimate photos of them together. That's when I realized my wife had been cheating on me all along. I angrily confronted her with these things, asking if her so-called business trips for the past 25 years had really been about traveling with this man. However, my wife didn't explain herself. Instead, she accused me of invading her privacy. Even my daughter sided with her first love, saying I was making a big deal out of nothing. They believed that the first love had provided a lot of help at the hospital over the years, and everyone thought my wife's promotion to director was due to his support. What they didn't know was that everything my wife had achieved was thanks to the path I paved for her. I remembered when we first got together, I feared my wife would feel insecure because of my background. So I deliberately hid the fact that I would inherit a large fortune and used my connections to help her enter the hospital, laying the foundation for her career advancement. But all these years I had worked tirelessly to support this family, only to be treated like a useless good-for-nothing man. Feeling heartbroken, I asked for a divorce and left the house. The next day, I went to the hospital, walked into the director's office, and revealed everything my wife had done, telling the director that I was preparing to return to my role as the chairman of the board and demanding that the director hand over the authorization letter as usual, with the added condition that the new director must report to me and be my subordinate. Coincidentally, my son-in-law, who had come to the hospital, saw this and immediately called his daughter, thinking I was intentionally trying to ruin my wife's career. They quickly contacted her first love to inquire about the situation at the director's office. When they learned that my wife would still assume the director position, they breathed a sigh of relief. On the other hand, I thought about our 30 years of marriage and decided to give my wife one last chance. If she and her family could realize their mistakes, everything could be salvaged. But when I entered the house, I found that my belongings had been thrown out. Then my wife handed me the divorce papers. I immediately agreed. But then my daughter presented a document for a clean break, saying